I've remembered it to this day. It's pathetic, really.
I said, come up here, you scout, and I'll show you.
You know, be a bit like me, you know, like that when I was always playing it.
The first thing he said to me is, you're not as ugly as I thought you'd be.
John Lennon's life was nothing short of a rock and roll fairy tale turned twisted. From mop-topped heartthrob to sharp-tongued provocateur, Lennon crafted an image that was as polarizing as it was iconic, leaving a wake of admiration and outright animosity among his peers. Few artists embody contradiction so thoroughly, with Lennon preaching peace on one hand and lashing out on the other, making him both adored and despised in equal measure. His turbulent relationships with other musicians underscore just how deeply divisive he could be.
You know, on what they think they're doing. I'd be very pleased to know what they think they're doing. I think they're all insane.
And perhaps none illustrate this better than the infamous feuds with Steely Dan, Todd Rundgren, Elvis Presley, Joni Mitchell, and his former bandmate Paul McCartney. Steely Dan, the cool cynics of the music world, were perhaps Lennon's harshest critics in song. With their track, Only a Fool Would Say That, Donald Fagen and Walter Becker took direct aim at Lennon's 1971 hit, Imagine, rolling their eyes at his lofty vision of a world without war, borders, or possessions.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
No hell below us.
Above us only sky.
To them, this vision was nothing more than the naive musings of a rock star, comfortably cushioned by wealth and privilege. The lyrics drip with disdain, painting Lennon as a man out of touch with the gritty reality of daily life, where people were far more concerned with paying the bills than imagining a utopia. While Lennon envisioned a borderless, classless world, Steely Dan argued that only someone with Lennon's wealth could afford such lofty ideals. You do his 9 to 5, drag yourself home half alive, they sneer, alluding to the everyday drudgery Lennon had escaped from long ago. For Steely Dan, Lennon was not a revolutionary, but a man with a dream, perched high above the struggles of ordinary folk. Then there was Todd Rundgren, who took the feud with Lennon to new heights of animosity. In a Melody Maker interview, Rundgren eviscerated Lennon, calling him a fucking idiot who hid behind a facade of revolutionary zeal to mask his need for attention. Rundgren didn't stop there. He went on to question Lennon's character, pointing to a drunken incident at the Troubadour Club in Los Angeles, where Lennon, in a drunken stupor, reportedly punched a waitress. To Rundgren, this was hypocrisy of the highest order, a so-called man of peace who spouted slogans about revolution but couldn't control his own behavior. Rundgren suggested Lennon's entire persona was a sham, designed to maintain his place in the limelight. Not one to take criticism lying down, Lennon fired back with a public letter that dripped with sarcasm and wit, renaming Rundgren Sod Runtelstuntel and mocking him as a wannabe rock star desperate for recognition. He dismissed Rundgren's comments as the rantings of an insecure man who hadn't achieved Lennon's level of success. And then there was the king himself, Elvis Presley.
We're caught in a trap. I can't walk out.
By the late 1960s, Presley's influence was waning while Lennon and the Beatles were on the rise, and the two cultural icons were worlds apart. Elvis famously despised Lennon, considering him a subversive threat to American values. In one of the stranger moments in music history, Presley visited the White House in 1970, where he met President Richard Nixon. In that meeting, Presley offered to serve as a federal agent at large to combat the influence of Lennon and other countercultural figures. Presley told Nixon that the Beatles were a real force for anti-American spirit and blamed them for corrupting American youth with their unkempt appearance and provocative lyrics. This disdain apparently stemmed from an awkward encounter years earlier when Lennon visited Presley's Graceland mansion and openly criticized Elvis's pro-Vietnam War stance. Presley, who had already felt threatened by the Beatles' popularity, took Lennon's anti-war sentiments as an affront, a rejection of everything he believed in. As far as Elvis was concerned, Lennon was the embodiment of everything wrong with the youth movement, a troublemaker who didn't respect American ideals.
All we are saying
Joni Mitchell, the folk queen known for her razor-sharp tongue, wasn't spared from Lennon's cutting wit, nor was Lennon immune to her contempt. Mitchell found herself at odds with Lennon's working-class bravado, which she felt clashed with her own artistic sensibilities. Their feud reportedly began during Lennon's infamous Lost Weekend period in Los Angeles, where he found himself adrift in a haze of alcohol and drugs.
I mean, when I met John Lennon, it was during his last year in LA, you know, and he came up to me and said, "Oh, it's all a product of our education. You want a hit, don't you?" I was cutting Court and Spark. He was cutting across the hall. So I played him something from Court and Spark, and he said, "You want a hit, don't you? Put some fiddles on it. Why do you always let other people have your hits for you, you know?"
Mitchell saw Lennon as a working-class lad with a chip on his shoulder, one who harbored a deep-seated mistrust of anyone he perceived as middle-class or intellectual. This disdain cut both ways, as Lennon allegedly dismissed Mitchell's music as twee and overly sentimental. Mitchell once said that Lennon represented the very class struggle that she saw as divisive in the music world, the kind that pits artists against each other based on their roots rather than their artistry. And finally, Paul McCartney, Lennon's oldest friend and longtime partner in musical genius. The two shared a bond that was both creative and contentious, with the latter coming to the fore after the Beatles' breakup. In 1971, McCartney's song "Too Many People" took a veiled swipe at Lennon, criticizing him for preaching practices that he didn't follow himself. The line was a jab at Lennon's public moralizing and self-righteous tone.
Too many people, the land pushed around. Too many waiting for a lucky break.
Because I'm human and I get irritated and I get angry. And I got so furious when I heard Ram the first time that I just wrote the song, you know.
You're furious because you don't think the level of music.
No, I was furious because there's messages on to me and the others in it. You know, there are too many people.
You made the first mistake.
You made the first mistake. All those lines are directly to us. It ain't paranoia.
A barb that Lennon couldn't let slide. In response, Lennon penned the blistering track "How Do You Sleep," where he took aim at McCartney with lyrics that accused him of riding on past glories. Lennon mocked McCartney for writing granny music and living off yesterday, suggesting that his former bandmate had lost his creative spark.
Tell me, how do you sleep at night?
Here they are again, yesterday, all my troubles.
The feud between Lennon and McCartney became a public spectacle, with the two former friends trading barbs in interviews and through their music. And yet, for all the bitterness, it's widely believed that the two never truly stopped caring for each other, a complex friendship marked by equal parts rivalry and respect. These rivalries reveal the fractured nature of Lennon's relationships and underscore his unparalleled ability to stir controversy. To some, he was a visionary. To others, he was an insufferable hypocrite. But love him or loathe him, Lennon left an indelible mark on each of these figures, just as he did on the world at large. In the end, he was a man who defied easy categorization, a rock and roll messiah with a penchant for making enemies as easily as he made friends, his life a mirror reflecting the best and worst of those around him.